Have you ever thought about supporting your potato stems? That's something I like to do. Supporting my potato stems is as important to me as watering and fertilizing. Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim and we are still talking about potatoes, y'all. Now, I have chitted my potatoes indoors. We have planted our potatoes in my raised beds as well as in my pots, which I have in a few different places in my garden. And we've put the mulch on top to keep in that moisture so we can keep that even watering and even moisture for the potatoes to give them the best possible growth period that we can give them. We've added bone meal. We've added blood meal. We've even added an organic granular fertilizer. So what else can we do to make sure we're going to get the best possible potatoes this year? We are going to use supports to make sure that we have good stem structure so that they are not having to worry about trying to hang on to all of these stems while they're trying to grow potatoes below the ground. So let me show you an example of a pot that has no support system. Now, I have potatoes in many different stages of development. I have some that they're not up above the mulch that we've added. So like this container here, no potatoes are present yet. And then I have containers that are a little farther along and the stems are here, they're healthy, they're looking good, but they're still pretty young in the stages of growth for potatoes. There are no, nope, I just want to double check. There are no blooms on it yet. Blooms means that there are potatoes down below. So this one doesn't have any blooms yet. But then I have this container here, which it's not the healthiest container, so we'll start there. But there's one little stem and it is so weak it won't even support itself. So I kind of got it going around this stake inside this plant here. So this isn't the ideal situation, but I just want to show it to you. And then I have this plant here. Now I started this plant indoors without any support system whatsoever. Now don't get me wrong, it's green, it's healthy, it's happy. It had blooms on it somewhere here. There are blooms on it, which means there are potatoes down below, but there's no support. The plants are just falling all over the place. You see how they're laid over like that? And with them being laid over like that, it could give you the false sense that, oh, they're getting ready to die back. Or it could be they need water. Or maybe there's nothing wrong and they're happy and healthy and they just want to lean over. But it makes it very difficult to determine where your potatoes are in the growth cycle, that growth process. So I personally like to stake my potatoes. Now I use these plant supports right here, and I will put the link on Amazon below on this plant support system. You can use this for flowers, you can use it for tomato plants, pepper plants, you can use it for a lot of different things, but I use this and only this, with the exception of that right there, on my potatoes in pots. Now this one, I think I've waited too long and we're gonna let it finish out its life the old-fashioned way with no type of support. But this pot right here is early. It hasn't broken ground yet. And so we're gonna use this plant support. Now these are super easy. I think they come in packs of 5, 10, or packs of 5 or something like that, but the link will be below. It comes with 3 legs that you put on. And I'm gonna be honest with you, over the years, I've gotten better and better at putting these legs on. But it's got 3 legs, and I just stick this down in the pot. Hopefully I didn't stake any potatoes, but I stick this down in the pot just like so. And so when these stems or haulms start growing, and they're going to grow up and through this checkerboard here, and this is going to keep those haulms up. And I'll know when they're dying back. I'll be able to tell easier if they need water, and I get a better harvest. I believe my potatoes come out bigger. I think they come out healthier. I don't know if there's any truth to it, right? Any science behind it, but I try to keep my plants as happy as possible, as long as possible. And so that's why I trellis my potatoes. And that's what I'm going to get to right now. We'll take care of this lone pot back here next. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know of anyone trellising potatoes in the United States. I do know across the pond, there is a Simplified Garden channel that I watch, and Tony always supports his potatoes. And that's how I started doing this. I followed his lead and I started finding ways to support my potatoes. And ever since I've been doing that, I've gotten a bigger harvest. So Simplified Garden, if you haven't checked out his channel, Tony over at Simplified Gardening is an amazing gardener, especially with his potatoes. So got this one supported. Let's get the rest of these supported. Now I have a couple different varieties of these. This one here is a circle inside of circles. And then this one here is the checkerboard. If I can find both, I will put a link to both. I don't remember if I couldn't get one or the other or how I ended up with two different brands, but if I can find the link to both brands, I will make sure that I share both brands with you. I think they work exactly the same though. Now that I've finished putting the supports on all of my pots, I need to figure out how to add supports to this metal raised bed. Now, I thought about getting a lot of different things. So I thought about maybe cattle panel trellis, laying it down and staking it up on the corners. And so for this year, I've decided to use my tried and true process that I've been using in my pots. We're going to use that in this raised bed container. So I have all of my little supports. I've kind of spaced them out across the bed, and hopefully these 8 supports can support these 28 plants. I believe there's 28. Yes. So these 8 supports hopefully will be able to support all 28 plants that we have in this bed here. We're going to get creative, but we're going to make it happen. Now, based on what I've read, I believe my red Pontiacs down there on the end are going to be my tallest plants, I think. And everything else I think is a medium height plant. So hopefully this is going to work. Now I know I'm going to have some gaps in between and around, but hopefully this will support the majority of the stems coming up. I really don't want to have to buy any more of these right now. That's not in the budget for this year. Maybe next year, not this year. I'm not used to a bed being so tall. It's making these want to go deeper and deeper. Now these are mid-season and late potatoes, which means they're going to be in the ground on average from 70 to, what is that, 120 days or something like that. So they're going to be in ground a long time, pretty much the whole season. They get to stay in the bed for the whole season. I won't get a second crop of late season potatoes in. So that's why I put late season and mid-season potatoes in my raised bed. All of my early season potatoes are in pots or grow bags. Boy, I got lucky. I got the exact number of stakes needed. That means I did a good job last year. I put everything up. I got them all in. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like it. I don't like this in my raised bed. I don't think it's neat enough. I got OCD. I like a nice, level, neat bed. So we may change this out if I have time in the next week before my plants get tall. If not, we at least got something supporting them. I'm really thinking about that cattle panel trellis ideal that I was talking about earlier. I just think that's too heavy. I'm sure there's some lighter material that I can use that's going to give me that same type effect. But for now, this is what we have. So my potatoes are in, they're mulched, they're fertilized, and now they're supported. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and come back and visit me real soon here at Kim's Cozy Corner. I got a lot going on in the garden and I want to bring you with me. Bye.